Good morning friends, myself Ketaki Talvadekar. I am the student of Melbourne Institute of Technology studying Masters in Telecom. Today we are going to design a network for small and medium enterprises. In order to design a network, it has a prerequisite of how to design and what are the requirements for designing that particular network. As you can see in the PPT, there are two buildings that are having LAN and WAN connection. We are going to design a network for such connections. Now basic requirements for this type of connections is that the users is allowed to access the network through internet services. Of course, there will be an authentication ID for users to individually access the network. There will be firmware protections and encryption techniques for wireless LAN. We will be using cabling and wiring for Cat6a cable. UPS will be installed in electricity surge, and server backups will be there that will back up the system and the data on weekly and daily basis. These are the hardware requirements for designing the network. Basically, the routers can be wired and wireless. We are using both the routers that are providing connections from the service provider to the customer edge. Switches are simply used to forward the packets in the network as fast as possible. Access switches are basically directly connected to the devices in the area through Ethernet cable. This is the physical design of my network. It is having the four departments: engineering, HR, marketing, and the customer service. Each department having the co-access switch, which is connected with the core switches, as you can see, and the core switch is connected with the firewall, and the firewall is also protecting the server area. The logical design of the network is that I have given the IP addresses to individual departments. As you can see, it is 192.168.4.0 to engineering department and so on. Now, network topologies. There are basically two topologies, that is physical and the logical. Physical represents the placement of the devices in the network, while logical represents the flow of data in the network and how the data is going to flow from routers and the switches. It is shown by logical network. Physical networks are having nodes and links, that is the devices are called nodes and the communication channel through which the data flows is called a link. Now these are the protocols and the technologies that is being used for WAN and LAN. The Ethernet is the most common protocol that is being used in LAN. It uses the access technology of CSMA/CD. This protocol uses the topologies like bus, star, and tray topology. The data is transmitted at the speed of 10 Mbps to 1000 Mbps. While fast Ethernet is, in order to increase the speed of the transmission, we use fast Ethernet, which gives the speed up to 100 Mbps. It is most expensive since the network's devices and the elements are also expensive. Now, frame relay is the one that is being used in the wide area network, that is the WAN. Now, it is having a high-speed data communication service in terms of packet switch data. HDLC is also used to connect the point-to-point devices serially. Now, we are also having PPP, that is point-to-point link. Most of the telephone companies uses this protocol, which provides a single path from customer premises to the carrier network. As you can see, these are the routing protocols which are used in the network to route the packets from one hub or from one router to another router, or the one switch to another switch. The most common one is the EIGRP. It basically works on the advanced distance vector. The conversion speed is very fast and it can be used for the large networks. It supports all the protocols and technologies of layer 2. Moreover, RIP is also the one that is the basis of the distance vector protocol that counts hops and matrices. ISIS is the one that works on the link state protocol. It allocates the routing processes to the interface in the medium rather than the network. Now, metro Ethernet services. There are three types of metro Ethernet services that are basically E-line, E-LAN, and E-tree, depending upon the traffic flow from point to point or to multi-point. Now, LAN and WAN services. In order to design a LAN and WAN and analyze the systems and the network for the LAN and WAN, there are four types of factors that are to be considered. That is hierarchical network, modular, resilience, and the flexibility. Flexibility shows us the load sharing in the network, how flexible the network can intelligently handle the load sharing. In order to design this network, there are basically four sites for small and medium enterprise: main site, remote large campus site, remote small campus site, and remote medium campus site. Main site is basically a geographically very large area having high scalable factor. while remote large area campus site is basically the similarly as main site, but it is far away from the main site. It is to be considered as an alternative option of the main site. It requires WAN connection which has been high in the speed. Remote medium campus site is basically having the less buildings and less number of users. Since less users are there, we are not supposed to install a separate WAN devices or the LAN devices in the network. Remote small campus is basically a simple single building having different floors and departments. It is having the network scale is very less as compared to the large campus. Here the core layer and the distribution layer merges into the single layer and becomes a two-tier LAN model, and it is similar for the WAN as well. These are the IP addresses that has been given as per the IP version 4. IP version 6 will be the future generation having 128 bits. It is believed that every single element on the earth will be having an IP address when the IP version 6 will be in implementation. These are the private domain, private IP addresses that has been given to my network. These are the departments to which I have allocated the network and the host IDs. Now, in order to run this network security, these are the features and policies as you can see. The security has to be there to endpoint devices that prevents the loss of data and zero attacks. Antivirus has to be installed and firewall protections has to be given in the email. Policies that should be done in order to protect the network is that unauthorized user or unauthorized person shouldn't be entered in the premises unless it has been acknowledged. Disable the services which are not used at all. You can use NTP and time synchronization can be done. Firewall and the other protection software can be installed in the devices. There should be always a redundancy and a failover plan. In order to protect the redundancy, redundancy generally there are considered to be a main three factors that is based on geographical area, speed of the protocol and the chances of the failure in the network. So failover plans are also used when there are some fields in the network or links, and there should be a substitute in order to have the smooth running of the network. So basically the conclusion is that due to the advantages of having a less expensive, efficient services and fast, VLAN has become more popular as compared to the LAN. And VLAN and every LAN and WAN has a pros and cons, but it is just a matter of efficiently designing the network in order to have the maximum input. Thank you so much, friends.